My name is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca George, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom. Yeah.
My name is Zainab Sammaz and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jan Faria and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Yes.
Take one. Well done.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paulini and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time.
Ready? Play.
Hey guys, hope you're as excited as I am. The red group is done for today, but it was actually pretty entertaining. But this is when the fun begins, really. I mean, the blue group, the draw is incredible. We've got both Mensik and Fields in here, the tournament favorites, but also Fonseca and Tien. This should be a cracker. Well, let's say, we'll see about this one, because this actually seems like the most lopsided match today between Lerner Tien and Jakub Mensik, but we'll find out soon. Of course, this format is also very much like created in order to have closer matches, so much intensity and like kind of every point matters type of deal. In about 45 seconds, the warm-up should end. This is, of course, the first meeting of Mensik and Tien. In fact, Mensik hasn't played any of the other contestants yet on the Pro Tour. He played Mikkelsen twice in the juniors and got basically like roasted twice. Anyway, of course, Lerner, this is like kind of a new setting for him. He hasn't played outside the States in the pros. He was traveling in the juniors, of course, a lot, making the finals in Australia, for example. So it's not like he is like, completely out of his element. It's not like he's Ben Shelton when he's began the 2023 season, but still, it's something new, and it's a completely different set of opponents that he's going to have to face as well to all the, let's say, stale fields in the last few months in the US Challengers, which both him and Nishesh Basavareddy were dominating. Speaking of Nishesh Basavareddy, very good performance against Alex Mikkelsen. A couple of points go either way, and maybe he wins that. Pretty much same for Shang and Vanash, but in that one, I think Jerry was pretty much kind of like the disappointment of the day so far. For Nishesh, for Lerner, I think it's perfectly fine to kind of treat this event as a learning opportunity. Again, no pun intended. We're going to have to be saying that a lot with Lerner Tien. But but yeah, they're basically going to be treating this as like, get some experience. And if the opportunity pops up, great. I have to take it. But it's fine to just be competitive in every match and get that, just basically get that opportunity to clash against some of their other peers that's mostly they haven't really faced before. Lerner has, of course, played Arthur Fields this US Open. He has played Fonseca in the in the junior Grand Slams of 2023, so in the final of the US Open and in the quarterfinals of Roland Garros. Mensik, this is his first meeting against Jakub, although they were actually both runners-up at the Australian Open in following years. Mensik lost the 2022 final to Bruno Kuzuhara, whereas Lerner lost the 2023 final to Alexander Bloks. Bloks, definitely one of the main contenders to join this list of contenders at the Next Gen Finals next year. What else? Hi, of course, hi Brazy, hi Ashley. Hope you enjoyed the previous matches. We're getting on with the blue group now. Second point of the match, Mensik has this put away forehand that I guess is on the line. Yes, indeed, we're gonna see a close call. Of course, the Hawkeye Live is part of the Next Gen Finals. He even says sorry to Lerner, as clearly this was not a controlled shot. However, yes, the Hawkeye Live, we might kind of like be very familiar with it by now, but you might remember that this is also something that the Next Gen Finals brought along. In 2017, the Hawkeye Live system made its debut on this, well, not on this very stage, because back then the event was held in Milan, but, at this event. Finally, Lerner also gets his first point. Pretty nice forehand line. It's going to be interesting to see definitely how his game stacks up against these fellows in his group. I think Basavaredi got drawn into a much easier section, whereas for Lerner, he kind of gets all these like big pace players. I don't even think he struggles against like massive pace too much. He beats someone like Marozsan in Winston-Salem, but I think it's more the heaviness of the ball from Mensik and Fils especially that he might struggle against. Fonseca, I think, is, this isn't saying much, but it's probably going to be his best matchup in this group. The reason why I'm saying it's not actually saying much because, well, there's that huge gap, right, between the top 4 and the bottom 4 in terms of the points earned this season, in terms of the ranking and etc. Anyway, some good serves from Mensik so far, and he gets the first game on the board. Of course, this is the fast 4 format, best of 5 sets though. How long are the matches? Usually about like 1.5, 2 hours. We've had a 3-hour classic for sure before, like the Passaro Arnaldi 2022 one. Earlier today, I think both matches lasted about 2 hours. It's not a particularly physical format for sure. This is something that, of course, hasn't really been introduced at the main tour yet. I think for now the backlash would be really hard. But some of the innovations of the next gen finals, of course, we're testing. Earlier today, there was some debate about the no-let situation, which has been a thing in juniors for a while. So, of course, both Mensik and Tien would have played a lot with that rule already. But basically, there's no such thing as a let here. If the serve touches the tape and then goes in, it's fine. You play it. And a player actually told me in February this year that he thinks that like on the Challenger Tour it wouldn't work because sometimes the nets are very loose, and then maybe you would get just a lot of these sort of like random aces. But at main tour level, I mean, it's very hard to hit an ace like this. And actually, Shang and Vanash, they had like 3 or 4, I think, when basically the ball died. Which kind of shows that maybe this isn't the best rule, especially when one came on, breakpoint down. For Jerry, I think he also won the game, so it was pretty impactful too. But anyway, this is something that obviously exists in tennis, and maybe at some point we will bring it on. Who knows? The first 2 points go for Mensik here. Lerner not really sharp enough yet with his ground strokes. Still a little starting a little slow. He gets the first point in his game now though, pushing Mensik very deep into his backhand corner. Had a couple of chances recently to talk about sort of like the Tien Basavaredi debate, and also whose ceiling is higher, and also how their expectations are going to be sort of going into the next gen finals. And on one of these 2 episodes with Alex Graskin, I think he was like kind of saying that like Lerner, if he just with that spin, if he can pin Mensik into the backhand corner, like that's kind of the game plan. But my answer to this is, and then what? Because that's not really enough, right? You still need to win the point with something. So far, Lerner is kind of struggling to do that, but now a nice +1 forehand. Very heavy, very spinny, but it does the trick as it wrong foots the check. And now we have another breakpoint. Of course, this is also a deciding point event, as in like no at scoring. So if we have a 15-40 situation, it's actually 3 consecutive breakpoints. And there's also no change of ends after the first game, which is why we're kind of just like very quickly jumping into it. I'll probably sort of like look at the charts after the first 3 games when there will be enough time for it. Now Lerner with another +1 put away. So deciding point and technically, the third break point in practice. Return is in. Now he's going to have to win a rally against Mensik. Let's see if he can do that. Trading forehands cross, of course. Righty lefty, so like one of them was in a bit of a different court position, but still. Lerner on the attack, very deep forehand, and I think he found it. Okay, gets himself out of the spiegel in the opening game. It's just 1-1. Another kind of like thing that we're speeding up the game with here is that if the point lasts less than 3 shots, which is fewer than 3 shots, I guess, which is just like ace, double fault, unreturned serve, and etc., then the time between the points, between the next point and that one is only 15 seconds, because the assumption is that you don't need to go to the towel in order to get to, just get ready for the next one. And I think that is very right. There's also a counter between the first and second serve of a player, which is something that on tour we still don't have. There was actually some towel debate earlier with Van Asch, who was frustrated that the kids were not reacting to his, to him wanting the towel. In some cases, yes, I think he was right, because it was pretty tough for him to get there and then get back in 25 seconds. But Nacho Forcadell, the umpire for that match, was also forced to tell him at some point that, well, you don't need to get the towel after an ace or one shot. And with that, I think he was also correct. Luca also got an audible obscenity warning for saying BS, of course, in the longer extended version of the phrase, and was also trying to claim that it's like wrong for whatever reason, even though it was really very clearly audible on the stream. Anyway, brilliant forehand down the line from Mensik, who is now 15 all here, attacking to the net, but he kind of lets the forehand volley float. I also have to credit the anticipation from Lerner here. He was really quick into his forehand corner here, and it allowed him to give Mensik that pretty unpleasant ball. So 15-30 now. The Czech had 3 breakpoints in the previous game, but now he is in a bit of a tough spot. Definitely what we can note with this format is that a 15-30 feels even worse than in the regular system, right? Because usually, yes, I mean, it's a big difference that like you've got 15-30, 15-40, you've got 3 consecutive breakpoints, right? So you're kind of like low 40 down. But then again, if you win 3 points, of course, you already have the game. But I think the biggest difference, sort of like in terms of the feeling for me watching so far, is how important a 15-30 feels. Like in this format, a 15-30 already kind of feels to me like, oh, this might be game for the other, for the returner. It's I mean, I don't hate the format. I don't think I would like to see it already on the main tour or something like that. Maybe in a few years, I have no idea how sort of like the entire sporting world will progress, and maybe we will need that sort of a major shakeup in order to keep interest in tennis. I have no idea. I probably wouldn't like it right now, but I also don't hate this event for what it brings. And I think as a standalone 1 week, it's very good. Anyway, Mensik gets out of this. Len trying to hit a similar forehand that he saved the third breakpoint with earlier, but it's not going to be in the court this time. And 2-1 after 9 minutes, but a very engaging, competitive 2-1. Okay, thoughts on this weird scoring system? I guess I already said a few things, even though I didn't see your comment. I like it. I think it's good to kind of like keep the engagement high, and it really feels like every game is impactful. I think one of the major flaws, besides sort of like being tough to learn, of the regular scoring system that we have right now, is basically the fact that sometimes you're watching a match, especially one that is very serve-based, and you're just tuning into the tiebreak or like the last few games of the set, and otherwise maybe at like 2-all, you feel like nothing really is happening yet, and basically any major changes, any major like situations will come later in the set. Here, I think this format, what sort of like its advantage over the regular one we have, is that simply every point matters a little bit more. Personally, I don't hate it at all. I understand that for a lot of people, it would be like far too much to bring it to the main tour right now, to simply like pro events, open events. I get it. I don't disagree with that, but personally, I like it. It's like similarly like in doubles, some people complain about no ad scoring, but I actually think no ad scoring kind of saves doubles right now. Just makes the match, be a little sharper and a little bit more exciting every single point. So that's kind of where I stand on it. But I do think it's like if we brought a change like this is a huge one. Like it would be impactful enough to kind of change the meta of the game, and probably there would be players who would suffer because of it and players who would improve. I think for the most part we should kind of try to avoid changes like this. So like when we're making some just incremental I don't know, just like adjusting some rules of tennis, I think for the most part we should be trying to avoid these that would favor some players, and these that would change the the landscape of it. But this one I feel like it would be huge enough to kind of make some players grow in terms of their potential. So that might be a little much for me for now. But yeah, as in this like one standalone event, sure, I love it. Mensik on top of the point here. It's a great pass from Lerner, but he is there closing down the angle nicely. You can see that the anticipation that Tien has, I mean, that's holding up great. Like he should not be in the forehand corner this quick. Definitely not. But then again, you also have Mensik with just the strong, heavy ball, the reach as well on the volley. And, well, we'll see how this match progresses. But Mensik has definitely kind of been showing that this might be a very different challenge to what Lerner has had to face so far. Maybe he will actually adapt very well. I mean, this is definitely one of his strengths too, right? Just adaptability, resourcefulness. So maybe it's not like this is going to be the face of this match forever. Uczący się, yeah, pretty much. Lerner is air, sure, it works. Uczący się, so the person who is uczy się. The person who uczy się. Yes, it would be correct. Yes. Mensik trying to find the baseline with the return, and I think he did. Let's see who wins this rally at 30 all. This is pretty huge. This time Lerner really peppering the forehand corner of Mensik, but it's holding up. A nice slice from the Czech as well. And eventually, it's actually Mensik who feels a bit pressured to find that down the line backhand angle, and he cannot do it. So 40-30 Tien, very nice rally from him, just spreading the court well and playing pretty smart. Yes, 48 Mensik, 41 Mikkelsen. Yeah, thank you, Brazy, for the NCAA mention. I wasn't sure how the let situation is handled there. 40-30 for Tien, and he finds a serve down the tee. Pretty nice, 194. Good placement, 2 all. What happened to Medi? Nothing that's, I don't know. I mean, there's nothing really. He just had some, poor finish to the year and the shoulder injury. Simona got a wild card for the Australian Open, yes, but that's qualifying. But still, of course, that's pretty nice. Hi, Craven as well. Serve rating. There. No, that's the serve rating on the screen is just some like manufactured stat, to be honest. Like it just exists on this scoreboard we're using here for the stream that the producer put on. But this isn't this isn't actually used by anybody in the tennis world. It's not speed in kilometers either. The highest ever speed in kilometers for a tennis serve is 263. So this is just like some manufactured number. Don't really look at it. Yes, Brisbane, Ashley. So the first week of the season. Hi, Elena. Hi, Jake. When it comes to the court being smaller, we simply don't have doubles lines here. Most events have to have doubles lines because they will be jumping between singles and doubles matches pretty much, every day. And here we don't have doubles matches, which means we can afford to only have the singles lines. pretty much this is the only event on tour where you're gonna see this. Back in the 90s, that used to be the case also at the year-end championships. And it looks unique. I think it kind of serves the purpose of once more making the event have a different feel to the rest of the tour. And I think this is kind of like all about that for sure. Who do we think has the highest ceiling between Tien and Basavaredi? You know my answer. It's Nishash for sure. But I think I agree with something that some people are saying, that like Lerner is going to maximize his potential. Whereas with Nishash, it's a little like, the physicality aspect might come into play. He's had so many injuries already, despite being so young. But I think Nishash's game is so much more imposing and so much more applicable at the top level that I have to go Nishash. I'm a big believer in the guy. And after today, especially, I feel like I've, kind of got awarded. Yeah. 310, we haven't had that yet, but maybe one day with the technology improving every single season. How were the other two matches, Jake? Shang had a pretty poor showing, just like double-edged sword in terms of his forehand. Well, that's really all there is to say. Like, I think I watched the post-match interview with Van Asch on the court, and he was also just, I don't know, I was more consistent, I was more solid, and that's kind of it. But of course, for Van Asch, given the season that he had, kind of like arriving at the Next Gen Finals for the second time, but in a much worse position than last year, it's pretty huge to get this win. Jerry looking like in his recent indoor performances, which were rather poor. And Basavaredi, Mikkelsen, great match from both, honestly. Just a few points here or there. Alex having that stronger first serve, getting to the net quickly. Nishash actually was pretty struggling to make any impact on the pass, which is surprising. Usually that's one of his strengths, I feel. And compared to Alex, definitely kind of lacked that first serve pop maybe a little bit, and was just unable to produce the sort of short attacking points that Mikkelsen was able to. But generally, I think he fared very well. The smoothness was there. The aggressive second serve returns were there. Pretty much anything we kind of knew and watched from Nishash this entire season, I think, was perfectly displayed in that performance against Mikkelsen. Of course, tomorrow, I guess that means he's going to play Yuncheng Shang, right? So unless Jerry improves, I think Nishash has a very, very good chance of winning this one. And Alex will be facing Luka Van Asch, whom he lost to last year in Jeddah. Now, after this full year of improvement, I guess I would favor Mikkelsen, but it adds some intrigue to it for sure. I actually would have loved it if in the red group, Nishash and Luka won today, right? Because that would be just like a complete explosion. And then you have Mikkelsen Shang probably for like who stays alive. Here we have a great pass from Mensik, cross-court on the run. Lerner has to applaud. I think it clipped the net maybe as well, but yeah, it was good enough that no one cares really. And 15-all in this game where Lerner is trying to get us to a tiebreak. Of course, a lot of tiebreaks in this format, as it's just to 4 games, but at 3-all we have a tiebreak instead of the usual 6-all. This is nice now for Mensik, the huge backhand return directed at Lerner's feet. He's done a bit more, definitely, on return. I mean, the 3 breakpoints in the second game. Let's see if he can convert before going into the breaker. Today, the breakers definitely have kind of like also decided matches, right? We have the first match between Shang and Van Asch, where the 2 breakers go to the Frenchman and he wins it. And also, of course, Mikkelsen Basavaredi, exactly the same situation. Anyway, I wasn't sure if this first serve from Lerner was in, which I guess it wasn't. And now he's going to have to rally for it. But he is able to get Mensik to miss. The forehand on the stretch, not quite making it. Still 30-all. We have some... interesting. Oh, so was that actually a foot fault call, I guess? And yeah, okay, that's why we're getting this one on the screen. I have it on mute, as you know, which I always do when I have when we're doing the commentary. So I wasn't aware, but yeah, it was a foot fault from Lerner. But he won the point eventually. Again, has Mensik on the stretch. Can Jakub come up with another brilliant pass? No, as it's in the tape. This time he was going backhand line. And well, it would be impressive if Tien just manages to get to the tiebreak here. Of course, anything can happen. Tiebreaks are as long as in regular scoring systems here, so up to 7 points. 40-30. Is it going to be tiebreak already, or can we get that deciding point? Again, Mensik really stretched, but he gets back into this one, and I think misses the backhand approach. Yes, so we will have another tiebreak, 2 of them in each of the previous 2 matches earlier today. Of course, this is the first day of the Next Gen Finals. As you can see, the organizers decided to keep the red group in the afternoon session and the blue group in the evening session. I think it's a good choice. Just this one seems more entertaining, especially the one that we'll have coming up, Fields against Fonseca. And also, I have to mention that we will have streaming for that one as well. Nice serve from Mensik to begin the breaker. Of course, Mensik was kind of like regarded as a huge prospect at the end of last year already, but this is his first Next Gen Finals appearance, maybe his last, as technically he is still eligible for 1 more year, but we'll see where he gets to in 2025 and whether he will still feel like, there's any point in playing the event. We'll see. It's a good lefty serve here from Tien. Wide angle to the backhand, as usual, gives the lefty the ability to level. 22 minutes only in the set, and we're already in the tiebreak, so that kind of shows you that this format really is pretty quick. And it was so incredible when Passaro and Arnaldi were playing that classic in 2022. Neither made it out of the groups that year, which was actually kind of sad because they were both peaking like crazy. And then we probably got the worst Next Gen Finals edition there with Striker dominating in the group stage, but then not showing up in the semis, and Nakashima Lehechka being a bit of a dud twice, despite seemingly on paper, having a close ability in terms of level, but just easily hating the matchup at the time. 7th edition of the event as a whole, 2nd in Jeddah after 5 in Milan. 2 games all. I've read, and I guess I agree with that the courts seem to be a little faster than the court, I should probably say. It seems to be a bit faster than last year, but of course it's just like eye test, and it's tough to... I don't think we have any data for that, at least yet. Is this in? I guess, and it actually allows Tien to take over in this point. But how does he claim it? That's kind of one of the issues that I was talking about earlier, right? He was up in the point, but then he has to just slow things down again. And it's just a big, gritty contest from the baseline now. But he's actually going to win it with the inside-in forehand, and Mensik is going to make a forced error. So the mini break goes to the American, who's so far, scoreboard-wise, holding up very well, and game-wise, similarly. I mean, of course, it was very close for Mensik to break in that second game of the match, but after that, things are looking pretty good for him as well. I mean, we didn't do a pick for the year, Ashley, on that stream that we had with what was it? Predictions for the next season. We didn't do Grand Slam picks. I mean, I feel like it's pretty pointless to do them right now when we don't know draws, when we don't know what sort of form players will be in. I don't know. If you want my guess, I would say maybe Sinner wins Wimbledon this time. Maybe Alcaraz stays at Roland Garros. Maybe Zverev or Medvedev win one of the hardcourt slams or something like that. I don't know. As I said, I'm not too certain that Djokovic will be back in the winning mix, at least, unless the draw opens up and Sinner, Alcaraz aren't there. I don't know. I mean, I don't think that an exercise like this has much of a point. It can be fun. But, we're in December, so me potentially guessing who would win the US Open is it's just that. It's just guessing. Sorry, I kind of have to switch the stream pretty quickly because that one that I was using is not doing too hot at the moment. Let's just say that. Oh wow, that was such an accidental return for Mensik. And I think he actually won the point on the back of that. That's really unlucky for Lerner. Good reaction from Mensik too. I mean, after it flies in, he's just like on top of things and pretty quickly swoops in to take that huge forehand. But yeah, that's kind of wild. Anyway, 3 points all now. That mini break has been restored with definitely a slice of luck. If you watched Basavaredi Mikkelsen, there was that third set when Alex was 3-2 40 love up on serve, and one of the points that Nishesh won in that stretch where he got into a tiebreak. Speaking of luck. And by the way, another return like this for Mensik. This is pretty crazy now. Well, not as lucky as the previous one, but still kind of like on the line after not hitting it too clean. So now he's got the mini break from being 2-3 down. 4-3 and 2 serves coming up for the young Czech. Second serve, gonna have to play a rally with Lerner. He's not been uber comfortable in these points. And net court slightly helps the American, maybe, although Mensik still manages to like stay on top. But now Tien hits the line. Okay, so it's kind of evened out. That slice from Lerner was like fully out of the court for a while, but it swirls back in. And we're back at 4-all. I think that's kind of fair. Both of them have had some pretty lucky points in this breaker, so it's good that they're just back level right now. And let's see who gets the better of the other in this situation. Well, Mensik's ace should help him out. It's a brilliant serve down the tee. I think over 200 probably if they let me see it. Average first serve speed this match, 212 for Mensik, 174 for Lerner. We'll see if this sort of like if this is an issue going forward for the American, because of course he still had lots of unreturned serves, right? Just he's using the angle and the spin a little bit more. This one was just 156 at 4-5, so it's a huge opportunity now for Mensik to potentially step in, take a bigger return. He will be trying to do that. Didn't quite connect, so it's gonna be a neutral rally again. Most of these, I feel like Lerner is winning, and this one is no exception, as Mensik tries to go for a bit much on that backhand line. So 5 points all. Well, it couldn't be any closer than this. It's a great serve out wide, and it's actually going to be Lerner Tien who has the first set point. Speaking of good serves, right? I mean, I just mentioned that major discrepancy between their first serve speeds on average. Well, Lerner shows here that this isn't everything, that the speed might not be everything you're looking for in a good serve, especially now that Mensik is going to have to hit a second set point down. He rolls a kick serve in, not too confident on this rally again. Whew. But this is confidence. This is bravery. Yes, the inside-out forehand is very sharp here. Very narrow angle that he was trying to find, and he lands it. So after a few neutral rallies where it wasn't really like going in his favor, he struggled to get through Lerner in any way, or like not even get through him, but just open up the court, just build up an advantage. He finds a 149 km/h forehand winner to get us to 6 points all. Well, as I said, this format is all about tight matches, and this one so far has been really tight. Lerner connects with the return, and it's gonna fall on the line. Mensik definitely could have moved a little bit more swiftly there, I would say. Of course, for his size, he's still an exceptional mover, but maybe this is something that Tien can look at going forward in this match in terms of ways to create an advantage. Anyway, 30 minutes, another set point for Tien, but this time on his serve. So that's kind of huge. Gonna be his second delivery. What's the reaction here? Well, he forces Mensik to go huge on the backhand line return, and that's out. So the first set goes to the underdog. We have a bit of a day of, well, basically every underdog standing up to the other player. So yes, it's Lerner Tien after 30 minutes, picking up the first set in a tiebreak. Muratoglu's UTS event. Yeah, Muratoglu's UTS event is like a card game almost, like an RPG, right? They just throw in like, I don't know, double points now or something like that. But that I don't really watch. Thoughts on Carlos playing Tiafoe in Puerto Rico? I saw a very weird tweet that I saw. I just said that I saw it. Anyway, I saw a very weird tweet relating to that, which kind of said like, well, we'll see how this decision ages. I mean, how do you expect it to age? You know, this year Carlos played the Netflix Slam and then won Indian Wells. Literally same dates, you know? So, and this was also right after he twisted his ankle in the Golden Swing. He's not going to the Golden Swing now. So I think it's everyone's decision, kind of like how they schedule themselves. Clearly this year he made it work with the Netflix Slam, so. Hi, Ozan as well. Yeah, Brazy, I mean, a lot of courts around the world now are just like laying the US Open or the Australian Open surface because, you know, it's huge companies, right? That basically travel around the world kind of and are able to provide that sort of well. I'm sure that one of the most talented tennis players young tennis players in the world right now is not garbage. Anyway, Lerner Tien starting the second serve with new balls. I think here we have a different rule as well regarding ball change because I think it happens just every 7 games, whereas usually, of course, we have 7 games only for the first ball change, which is because of the warm up. But I think here they change it every 7 games. Not too impactful, but if we keep getting tie breaks every single set, then of course it might be just simply a change every single set. Well, the scoreboard you're going to have on the screen right now will be a little faster than me, as I still have to keep using this backup stream. Anyway, Lerner Tien, 30 love up already. When Mensik creates some edge with the serve, he's been comfortable, like driving it and going into the forecourt and everything. But from a neutral position so far, he's not too comfortable. That's a stunning return from him, though. Fantastic reaction. Lerner was trying to switch to the inside in forehand, but to no avail. That was just a little too quick. They showed the conversion stat as well on the screen. Of course, one of the new kind of like tennis insights things, but Lerner at 92% there. So that basically means that from an attacking position, he was almost always winning the point, which is also funny because, well, I was talking about this, right? That like Lerner, when he's on top, he doesn't really have the ability to like wrap it up, but he was doing pretty well. Not exactly at that, but just like keeping that little tension in the point and eventually just not missing. And he gets the first game too. So it's a very good start for the underdog. Let's see if Mensik has that ability to fire back. Did Tien really find us? I think he did, but he's not gonna convert it later. So anyway, trying to slice to the Mensik backhand now. The Czech kinda struggling to get anything going in these neutral points, and that's been the main issue for him so far. As long as Lerner just has him here in that neutral rally, he seems to be pretty comfortable, but this time he doesn't make it. Hitting an unforced error backhand down the line. This is one of the first ones for Mensik, I mean for Lerner in these spots. Going to be a little long on that deep return down the middle, Lerner. So should be a quick game for Mensik. One thing I have to note is that the Czech is briefing quite heavily. I mean, we don't really know like the full details on how his last few weeks looked because he had an injury. Well, an injury maybe is a stretch, but he basically withdrew from his last match in November, but that was over a month ago. For all players, I guess, they've had a few weeks basically off. So we don't really know in what sort of stage of their training blocks they are, how they factored in this event into their preparation for the upcoming season. But yeah, Mensik is probably the guy today so far that kind of looks a little bit tired already after these 40, 50 minutes. Just breathing a little more heavily. But of course, that's nothing fully dangerous yet or whatever. Still has a lot of time to recover here, and a game that potentially could lead to him being able to shorten the points. Anyway, quick one for him here. 1 game all. Still no breaks, with Tien saving these 3 consecutive in the second game of the match, and then of course winning the tiebreak to get the lead. Let's see. Pretty good aggressive play here from the American as well. Of course, a lot of this is just a good serve, which you can see that despite the lack of speed on it, he's doing perfectly fine. And he also wraps it up with a nice volley. I think from these, like when Mensik is just in a similar spot like Lerner was here, when he's hitting a good serve, getting on top of the point, it's really tough for Lerner to recover. But basically anything neutral so far is going in the Americans' favor. Definitely some encouraging signs so far, considering the kind of group that he has here. A win over Mensik could be absolutely massive if he could start his group stage campaign with that. Then probably play Fields tomorrow, but maybe Fonseca. Fonseca, against whom he's had these junior clashes. Fields against whom he played 2 very good sets at the US Open, just 2 of the 4-setter, but still. And yeah, I mean this looks like another pretty quick service game for him. Oh, and one more thing about the format, actually. I said that 15-30 feels like a very different score. 40-15 and 40-30, right? They also kind of usually when it's like 40-15, you probably consider the game to be more or less over, but here it just feels very palpable that someone might be able to recover. simply because 2 points and suddenly you have this like straight shootout, right? Just like one to decide who wins it. So it's definitely a bit of a different feeling to this format. Again, wrong footing, Lerner. Really good stuff, but Mensik survives for now and plays a brilliant pass. This is some amazing footwork in this point from Mensik, even if I loved the precision and the placement of the first forehand from Lerner. That's some amazing footwork. I think people very often just kind of tend to, put Mensik in this category where, he's tall, so he probably doesn't move. But obviously that's not the case. That's obviously not the case with him at all, and it's never really been the case with him either. Another point where he has to like really stretch for shots and eventually swoops in with the slice approach, but Lerner is there with the forehand pass. This is a good hold. I mean, I know he was for the love, but this easily could have gone sideways on this one. Yeah. What happens to going 6 games? This event is played with these rules, Nathan. Basically, the Next Gen Finals has been like a bit of a playground for the ATP to test some innovations. And since the very first edition of this event, since 2017, this event has been played in the Fast Four format, which is best of 5, and the sets are only going to 4 games. At 3-all, we have a tiebreak. And yes, this isn't an event that's ranked. This isn't an event that's open, so it's not a big deal. Thoughts on Simona only getting a wildcard into Australian Open qualifying? I have zero thoughts, Ozan. It's good for her to get a qualifying wildcard. Why I don't know. It's rare for the Australian Open to grant wildcards to players who are foreign, right? So it's nice for her to get that qualies wildcard. We have no idea, what sort of level she'll be playing at in January. The last time we saw her, she wasn't really ready for main draw tennis at Slam, I think. Of course, draw dependent. I mean, it's not like there wouldn't be players she could beat, but I don't know. I think she's still quite a while off being, back to her best, but we'll see. Getting through the qualifying, if she can do that, it could actually really help her rhythm-wise. We'll see. Anyway, 1-2, Mensik, nice +1 forehand. I didn't mention Lerner's roots, not at all, actually. Buyun Chauketa and Lerner Tien. Sure, if it happens, we're doing it, Brazy. Hygiene. No pun intended. I see Brazy was already there in the chat like 50 minutes ago trying to make a Lerner Tien pun, but it was a bit manufactured, Brazy. I mean, it's also kind of like, we've heard it already, right? The best Lerner Tien puns are the ones that kind of like go just randomly pop up. And you are suddenly just forced to say, no pun intended again, because his name works like this. 30-15 for Mensik. It's a longer rally. He's really getting worked over by Lerner, and eventually it's the American making the error. So it's one of these few rallies that Mensik actually is able to fight back in. As I mentioned earlier, that they were showing us the conversion rate between the two players, and of course Lerner was just like winning pretty much every point he was on top of in the opening set. I think it's slightly changing in the second. And the Czech fires an ace, so still no breaks of serve after the first 10 games of the match, not counting the breaker, of course. And 2 games all. Lerner Tien has a chance to secure that second set tiebreak, which has to be the goal right now. get it done and then look for a break in that kind of like free chance game. But so far, holding up very well. And this is also another good serve. I mean, the placement of it, again, despite the low speed, makes an impact. It's not the scariest serve in the world, but he's mixing it up well. He's keeping Mensik guessing, and he's hitting some good angles. It hasn't been a liability. I think it might be in some matches, some matchups, maybe even this matchup on another day, but not today so far. And again, good placement on the forehand +1. Mensik on the stretch, slicing the ball into the net. You know, he goes 2 sets to love up here, and we have to consider Lerner the favorite from that position. At 1 set all, we'll see. But if he can get this second set done... Oh, wow. That's a stunning pass from Mensik, though. Open stance back and down the line. Can't blame Lerner for not covering the angle here because it's just a fabulous shot. You don't expect that when you're lifting the ball there. But it's still fine. 30-15 for the American. Suddenly, though, 30 all. Deep shot from Mensik on the defense again. And Lerner hits the net this time, so might be in for a few very exciting points here. And this is kind of the strength of the format, right? 30 all, you know that this is like no BS from here. Every single point is going to be huge. And again, we have Lerner on the attack. Mensik, though, finds a forehand counter. Back to neutral, more or less, at least. And Mensik's shot is just out. That had to be close. Yeah. Actually, a little bit along. Yeah, a little bit further away from the line that I expected. Anyway, 40-30 Tien there. But still, you know, you don't feel like this is far from a break, right? This is what we can like about the format. Just 1 point, and we suddenly have that decider. 40-30, second serve as well. Mensik has been trying to kind of like jump into some of these forehand returns, but most of the time he doesn't fully connect. Not this time either, although I don't think he was trying to go huge. Gonna trade forehands cross-court with Lerner now. And again, he kind of loses his footwork there. And another forced error goes the way of the American. So he's got what he wanted, a 3-2 lead after the change of ends. Well, not actually, no. Is there a change of ends now? I kind of lost track of the rules. Anyway, after the sit down, after the break, he will be trying to get that second set on the board, either in the tie break or even earlier, with a first break of serve in the match. Lucas surprised me with his performance today, but he did say Shang has been horrible indoors lately. Yeah, unfortunately for Jerry, this was very much like his performances of late. And yeah, just struggling to find the right balance between, slapping these forehands. Obviously, he has some really special acceleration there, but at the same time, just staying consistent, staying in the point. And Luka was solid, sharp. That's kind of like all he can do in a way. But yeah, he performed well for the standard that we've seen from him recently. He performed well. Does anyone find it ironic that there's an American called Lerner? Yeah, I can see it, Ghosty. Kind of like, Djokovic Kyrgios doubles. Like, sure, people are gonna tune into that probably, but like in the grand scheme of things, neither cares about that too much. They're just gonna have some fun, right? Anyway, 2-3 Mensik Now he's trying to serve to stay in the set. I think when Lerner was in this position in the opening set, he wanted to 30, I think. Still no breaks of serve in this match. This should be a good serve as well for Mensik. He has a huge timing advantage and he delays the forehand nicely as well. So 30 love now. Ace out wide. What's nice as well is that we don't have to think, oh, was it a let? Because I think it might have been, but of course it doesn't matter. 53% of Mensik's first serves have been unreturned in this match, and then only 37 for Tien. But it's not making a difference so far, as I said, it's just not. And that's another unreturned first serve. So that's a super quick game for Mensik. And well, crunch time. As I said, I mean, 2-0 up, we have to treat Lerner as the favorite. But one set all, and everything is still open. First point, it's a brutal return from Mensik, but can he capitalize? Yes, indeed. Opens up the court with how wide that return was and then just goes into the other direction. Even Lerner Tien is not going to be able to catch that ball. So the first mini break goes to the check, but we remember that the first breaker was quite wild, and this was, well, one mini break was not enough, definitely not, far from it. And well, as kinda you would expect, the mini break has been restored already. It's another long neutral rally that Mensik is just unable to find any advantage in, and eventually he's the one that will likely make an error. But an ace down the tee from the check is making the difference. The serving in the last 10 minutes or so has been really good, which can help him out considering all that, well, all the struggles in neutral points, but also the fact that he looks a little bit more, well, not fatigued yet, but looks like this match is taking a bit more from him than it is from Lerner. Let's say that. 2-1 for him now in the breaker. Again, we're starting the point basically from neutral after that first serve from the American. But Mensik is gonna miss first, and that's kind of been the theme of the last few rallies as well. That's a really good wrong footing effort from him again. He's got Mensik on the stretch. Does he find the line here? I think so, but Mensik's movement here, Jesus. He is everywhere. And he stays in the point. But does he stay in the point for long enough? Or is it still gonna end with his error, Because once again, Lerner doesn't have the power to put him away, but he just sticks around. Like, he just works the point to no end. And this point is never ending. Let's see who takes this. And yeah, Mensik is just gonna miss this slice wide. And it's another point like this, where Lerner has him on the move, can't put him away, but eventually he just keeps working it, and the error is gonna come from the check. 28 shots in that previous rally. So if Mensik is a little wary, that's not amazing for him. And again, we have a point where like he's trying to find an advantage, but it's tough. And the net court goes at Lerner Tien's backhand. At which point, Mensik tries to approach the net, but is unable to get a clean shot at it. So it's now 4-2 for Lerner. And this is a real chance for the American to go 2-2 up. Big serve for Mensik, but it's back in play. And he has to go to the net again, but it's such a tough shot. I think he was kind of like doubting himself a little. You know, if you strike that huge forehand and you follow it up instantly, I think you probably win this. But here, actually, on the replay, I guess maybe I'm just not giving Lerner enough credit for this one. Maybe it would have been a nightmare anyway, that low deeping slice that he played. And again, so many points where like Tien is on the attack, then has to retreat, but he still wins them. We'll see if this one also ends like that, because it's another rally like this where like everything changes so many times. And now it's Lerner on the back foot. Mensik approaches the net and the volley is going to be out. So I think very soon we will have a 2-0 lead here for the American. 6-2 up. Okay. And we've seen a couple of like pretty kamikaze net approaches the last few points from Mensik, but that's also for a reason, right? If he can't find the first serve, he's just unable to create an advantage. He's forced to play these neutral points with Lerner, which kind of like come and go. You know, the edge basically goes from one player to another 100 times. And it's not easy. Well, Tien double faults. So he gives Mensik a little bit of a helping hand here. But let's see if he can actually take it or if Lerner will keep extending it. Well, no, because there's a lob and there's another kamikaze net approach from Mensik, which again, I don't think we can really blame him for. He just doesn't have an idea how to win the point here. He's doing it for a reason, right? So yeah, a lot of that is just due to Lerner's anticipation and how tough it is for Jakub to break out of these points that he doesn't really enjoy here. I mean, I really can't answer all these questions about bro, is Mensik going to win? We don't know it, and that's why we're watching. But obviously, as I said earlier, like at 2-0 up, Tien becomes the favorite. Is Fields not 100%? I've heard rumblings. I mean, in terms of injury, no. Just basically the fact that he is potentially not going to be like fully motivated, maybe. But this is just a guessing game. What is a weird Polish name equivalent to Lerner? Like a Polish verb, but the parents turned it into one of the kids' names. Jesus, I'd have to think about that, and I don't know if I can right now. But there's definitely something, right? Like, especially back in the day, surnames, first names, they used to come from words. Like, they aren't just contrived out of nowhere, right? So I think if you thought about it, definitely something would pop up. Especially these like names of Polish origin strictly, which don't have foreign representation. Diallo gets a wild card into Auckland? Really? I mean, for what reason? Am I happy about that? It's fine, but kinda weird, to be honest. Like, what sort of connection does he have with Auckland? Brazy, $150,000 is the participation fee if you play 3 matches. And yeah, Ghosty Feels was considering pulling out of the next gen, but that's not due to injury. That's just due to the fact that he has outgrown the event. No. The dude who wins the finals gets 150K. This is the participation fee. So you only this is what you get for only playing 3 matches. If you win the event undefeated, you get like, I don't know, almost $1 million, I think. I don't remember, but yeah, 150 is the participation fee. Brazy coming back with the old meme of Rinki Hijikata, but yeah, I mean, I think that much is very true. The best volleys of the 8. I think there's a lot of good contenders. Obviously, Mikkelsen, it's a huge part of his game, but I think Basavaredi has to be up there too. And Lerner might be there too. It's just that for Lerner and Nishash going forward, especially, it might be a little tougher to get to the net, especially for Lerner. So maybe we won't get to see it that much. Whereas Mikkelsen, it's just such a natural part of his game, right? So that's kind of what I would say. Diallo, the New Zealander. Yeah, maybe he's just like Cam Nori, he's gonna treat Auckland as his home event. By the way, we have a toilet break at the moment. I think, of course, ordered by the player who is losing, so Jakub Mensik. Well, exciting times in this match, that's for sure. And Mensik is back, so we should be playing in a second. All right, Jakub Mensik, after an hour of play, is starting the third set. Still no breakpoints. Still no breakpoints faced for him. Still no breaks in the match, but he is 2 sets to love down, and that's a sizable advantage. Another good point from Mensik with the early aggression from the first serve proving important. But it is. But it is kind of like the only potential strategy for him right now, right? Someone in my Twitter comments as well saying that like he even thinks that Mensik should be slamming the second serve, And well, maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but I wouldn't hate it, I guess, because really winning a neutral rally here has been really, really tough for him. And this is a super quick hold, but if he can't start breaking Lerner, then how does he actually win the match, you know? Someone else saying as well that Mensik should be, that he would like to see Mensik going bigger on his ground strokes. And yeah, I mean, I get that feeling too, right? It's just about the fact that he is unable to find an advantage in any of these longer extended rallies. So many ones that like can just like go back and forth, you know. Tien is on the on the front foot, then it goes to Mensik, and they just keep trading ground strokes until Mensik misses. And maybe the solution is to go a little bigger, you know, try to force yourself, try to push yourself to go a bit for more, because I mean, otherwise, how else are you going to be winning this? He goes to the net again and he misses the volley, but once more, it's kind of like a combination of a pretty poor approach from Mensik, but also the anticipation from Tien is just really good. You know, he's there. He's there quicker than other players would be, and he's able to play a better answer because of that. And well, I don't really want to speak about this one match going forward, because to me, still a game like Lerner has, it does have a certain ceiling on it. You know, it's not like I think he can ever fight for Grand Slams or something like that, but you can see that even a player like Mensik with serious heavy pace is struggling against it. And at the moment, we're really just seeing him almost kamikaze net rushing, and this time it worked. A lot of that is due to the quality of that previous forehand inside out, which maybe, once again, maybe the strategy will be to try to find that one huge ground stroke instead of trying to play Lerner at his own game, because that has not worked out for him at all in this match. Still, a 3 point on serve for the American, which is something that Mensik hates right now. So one way to look at this match would be, there's still no breaks, so it's just a few points in the tie breaks. But yeah, I mean, Mensik generally would hope to be a little bit closer to breaking Lerner most of the time in this match. But it's only really the very first opening service game of the of this encounter for Lerner that was tough. After that, things are looking much, much better. And again, it's like unreturned serves everywhere, but wow, crazy return for Mensik. Lerner once again has to applaud. Okay, yeah, I mean, that's just a good reaction, but it feels like before Lerner even was on the ground, the return was already in the back fence. So anyway, 109 kilometers an hour on that return, but the first serve down the tee for Tien. So, okay, 4 points in a row. We've got 3 unreturned serves for Tien, and even that return winner just doesn't matter. It's not going to make a big difference as we are heading into the third game of the third set. Yeah, maybe it's 500. I don't know. I didn't see. As I said, I don't really remember the actual breakdown. But as Mensik have the fitness to come back in this match, says Jean, and that's also a bit of a problem. The heavy briefing here. This is a quick format. Like, the match isn't gonna be longer than 2.5 hours, right? Even if it's 5 tie breaks, or sometimes it might be, but most of the time it won't be. But it also might be a problem going forward. Yeah, we'll see. As long as he can serve well and kind of hit a big ground stroke every now and then, he probably can, but we'll see. Imagine if kicks one goes to... It's highly unlikely. Yeah, I mean, I would kind of like to see Nick Kyrgios win a slam, because it would just the tennis world would go wild. Nick would be everywhere saying that, you see, I actually did it, and he would feel like this validates everything that he has said for the past 6 months or so. Well, not 6 months or so, 10 years or so, maybe even, I should say. So it would be chaotic, and I like chaos. But he probably had his shot at Wimbledon. For the love here in just a minute, but Mensik misses this next shot. Let's see if he can very quickly put this game to rest. I would assume he probably will, but who knows? I would also like it if the first stream I was using unlocked at some point, but okay, 205 on the clock. Mensik with another rapid hold. What else can you say here? I mean, this has been like the last 5 games of Mensik looked like this. Like he's just serving well enough in order not to give Lerner a shot, but he's still going into tiebreaks with him, and then the tiebreaks get a little bit more messy. Anyway, of course, after the break here, he's gonna have another chance to potentially break. We'll see if he can take that. Yeah, someone on my Twitter is saying that the guy doesn't know how to volley, but I actually think, as I said, a lot of that is just the anticipation, how unprepared some of these approaches are. That's not done. We have some graphics on the screen as well. Shot placement in set 1 and 2. Of course, that basically means that Lerner's ball never really drops short, I guess. That's what they're trying to tell us. I thought there might also be like a breakdown of Mensik's court position, but no, that's a different stat. Never mind. Pretty fun impromptu dropper from Mensik. He wins the point, 15-0. This return will not go inside the court. So many free points for Lerner as well recently. Of course, Mensik still has more of them. Like when we saw the unreturned serves stat last, it was 53 to 37%. But yeah, I think Lerner is more or less keeping that distance, and that's perfectly fine, I think, with his delivery. Again, he wins another point strictly based on the aggressive position that the serve got him into. So that's really not something that Mensik can afford at this stage, as once again it seems like he will miss out on a potential opportunity to get a break. I mean, I'm just saying that as as in like every game is a potential opportunity to get the break, but yeah, it's another unreturned serve. It's not like he is returning Lerner's serve much better than the American does his. So it's kind of wild. I mean, it's definitely not what he was expecting and not what we were expecting. But after 15 minutes, 2 games all, and who knows, we might be heading into another tiebreak. The last few games from Mensik, right, on serve, they were like very, very quick, just massive deliveries. But if he drops that for even a second, who knows? Maybe Lerner will be there. Ghosty, no, I mean, no one can tell because the lightning is like that for a reason. there is some crowd. Like you can hear some crowd, right? But yeah, no idea because they never really show the crowds. That's kind of been a common thing for the next gen finals editions. But I think it's pretty clear that Jeddah would not sell out the next gen finals. I don't think. Well, yeah, I mean, another huge serve for Mensik, and his last few service games have all been like this. Which still doesn't put him, still doesn't get him any closer to winning this match. Although, double fault here, that definitely doesn't have him any closer to winning this match. I mean, I think it's obvious that Lerner can hang with these type of players who have more power than him. He beat Marozhan and Winston-Salem, for example. Oh wow, another double fault for Mensik, so it's actually going to be fairly all. But it's more about like the heaviness that they play with, and for the most part, I don't think this match looks like that always. But it's definitely looking like it here. Mensik just kind of like unable to break out from these rallies and actually use that pace he has. Like there's no, the fact that Mensik has all that pace, other than basically giving him some slightly easier holds, it's not granting him anything in the rallies, whereas there are players that will be able to do it. Still, the anticipation of Tien, of course, is a weapon of sorts. But there are players who won't be giving him that ability to play all these back and forth neutral points here, right? Which I think a lot of them, a lot of these rallies here are just the edge switches 10 times and Mensik is just stuck in this, and eventually he's the one making an error. And I think most of them, most top quality opposition, shouldn't be allowing him that opportunity. Of course, Mensik is also still very young. Which, he's not learned yet how to, no pun intended, how to play someone like that. But yeah, I mean, it's encouraging signs. Well, I mean, I don't think you can ever say that someone like Mensik is worthless. It's, people just try to base their opinions on youngsters on one match. And, Mensik has done so much in his career already. And is going to be like a top-ish player for sure. But today, in many ways, he is definitely struggling. Both tactically, maybe also physically a little. I mean, he had that tape on his wrist that he was taking off just a second ago after the two double faults seemed to have helped. He seemed to have helped. He's free to up now. Again, has that spot where he can look for a break and avoid another tiebreak. But we'll see if that is going to be a reality or not. Still no breaks, right? I mean, we've had how many? Jesus, I can't even count to that many games. 17 games without a break. So in a classic regular match would be at 7-6, 3-2 now, right? That's a big difference compared to where Mensik is in this match already. I think it makes it, yeah, he's definitely closer to getting defeated than in the regular format. Yeah, I think lefties are overpowered too, Ghosty. I agree about that. We have this lefty now at the table tennis trainings, and yeah, I mean, he's much worse than me. I don't think I will maybe not ever, but I don't think I will lose to him for the foreseeable future. But definitely, it's just frustrating. You play a shot, let's say at his backhand at what you think is his backhand corner, generally speaking, and you think that there's no chance that anything dangerous is going to come back from that, right? I mean, all your patterns basically have to be reversed, because suddenly you could just slam that ball, and there's really like nothing you can do. So I do kind of hate that. Just have to rethink all your strategy, basically. Okay. Anyway, 15 all here. Lerner not liking something. I don't know what really, but he's talking to the umpire. Mensik is going to be in the next point, at least. He will win it as well. So that 15-30 is looking, as I said earlier, sorry, I'm just doing some shakeups. As I said earlier, that 15-30 is a very dangerous score in this format, especially as he's now trading some deep shots with Lerner and also looking like a possible winner of this rally. Yes, and it's going to be a mistake from Lerner. This maybe is an evidence of him. I mean, this maybe is evidence of him being a little tight in this spot. Gonna be 3 consecutive set points for Mensik, so this is the chance he has to to start turning the match around. Good first serve from Tien. Really stretching Mensik to that forehand corner again. Not afraid of that direction too, because if you might remember that like a few games ago, there was that fabulous return winner from Mensik after exactly this serve. But yeah, still 2 more set points for the Czech, and he's got a second serve to look at. Wow, I was gonna say, like, I was just gonna say that this is a great second serve from Tien, because I mean, I think it was. Just Mensik read him like a book. The angle was there. Of course, the speed, not really, but like the angle and the spin, he really sent Mensik very far wide. But the Czech slams it, backhand down the line, return winner. Probably the first one in this match, really. And not return winner, but like of his backhand. And he gets that 4-2 set. So, well, he's right back in this. If he can keep holding this easily as he's been over the course of the last 2-3 sets, two sets basically, but yeah, even 3. I mean, there haven't been any breakpoints on his serve, right? So if he can keep cruising through his service games, he always has a shot here. Just can't really, drop that intensity on serve for any moment right now, but he's right back in this, it seems. So a great effort from Tien so far, forcing Mensik to be more aggressive about his returns, forcing Mensik to do some of that kamikaze net rushing earlier. But finally, the Czech gets his first breakthrough, and now we're going to learn a lot. No pun intended again. But now we're going to learn a lot about where this match is heading and whether this will be a permanent improvement for Mensik. Also worth mentioning that he will still be serving first after this one, right? So it feels like, especially in the set, it's really giving him a bit of an advantage combined with the easy holds. So yeah, we'll learn about Lerner and we'll learn about Jakub sometime soon. Anyway, starting the 4th set now, Jakub Mensik, and starts it as well as he could with that massive first serve. Because let's imagine that like Mensik wins this in 5, and the next 2 sets are also like 4-1, 4-2. And then do we say it was close? Sorta, right? Lerner led 2-0. But if every single service game of Mensik is going to look like this, well, that would be kind of the sour taste for Lerner's performance. But of course, still very far from that. And after what he's been showing so far, you have to give Tien more credit than this. I don't think he's just going to like fold. But maybe Mensik will make him. Who knows? It's pretty good from the check, not gonna lie. The net court could have fooled him there, but he stays on point. Ghosty has a problem where dudes are serving soft. I like to play with the bounce and send back a quick return. It's so annoying. Forces me to play a few extra strokes. Yeah, my main issue right now is the fact that a lot of the dudes I'm playing against have kind of figured out the type of game that I don't like, which is like, they're playing a huge forehand loop. And I like just, everything being very quick, close to the table, just, smashing the ball, playing off the counter. And I can't do it when they're hitting like very spinny, heavy forehands like this. Well, it hurts when people know you well enough to know your strengths and weaknesses. But if they know you that well, then you should also know their weaknesses, right? Does Jakub Mensik know Lerner's Tien weakness? Lerner Tien's weakness now? Not really, right? I mean, it's just the weakness of the Americans so far today has been the massive serve of Mensik, first and foremost. Whereas the weakness of Mensik, I guess, has been just the fact that he cannot like outgrind Tien in any longer rallies. Let's see who manages their strengths and weaknesses better. This was supposed to be a quick game, and it doesn't have to be, but it actually is. Okay, at 40-30, Mensik finds another big serve. So it's a pretty funny match in the sense that it might be like a very challenging 5-setter or a 4-setter, but it also might be like a deceptively easy 5-setter if Mensik just gets an early break and sets 4 and 5, right? I guess it's also one of the intricacies of the scoring system, but also the fact that he hasn't faced a breakpoint yet, and most of his games are just lots of unreturned serves. I will actually look at the stats now and well, I'm just interested what sort of first serve percentage Mensik has. Not in the first serve in percentage, but points won. I would say that's probably going to be really high, right? Does Lerner make this pass on forehand? I don't think he has. Yeah, that's just pretty careless. But of course, just the first point of this game. Still, he doesn't want to like let Mensik get all that, just use all that momentum from winning the first set, right? He wants to show that he's still very much there. Okay, so Mensik has lost 8 points on his first serve, 78%. I guess nothing crazy, but 11 aces for him so far as well. That's worth mentioning. Someone was actually asking me a couple of days ago, and I don't know anything about that, but like, about aces and who in the next gen finals is going to hit the most aces. And I was like, no idea, because that's not really something I monitor, but maybe Mensik. So I'm glad that I said that based on this match so far, at least. Although Mikkelsen probably hit quite a few too. Okay. This +1 forehand is much better from Lerner, just making sure that everything is nice and free. Don't have to go hard. Just have to make sure that you're careful with this shot. And he is 30-15. Gets Mensik on the stretch, and he's going to miss another +1. Oh, wow. This one is close to the net as well, so 30-all. I mean, a break here for Mensik could be disastrous for the American. So that 30-all now, again, as I said, this is huge. 30-all is already massive in this quicker format. So let's see how Lerner handles this and whether all the momentum from the third set is going to pay off for Mensik even more. Well, not with another unreturned serve. So Mensik, in order to break, has to win the next 2 points. Oh, and by the way, another sort of like difference to this and the doubles format, right, with no outscoring, is that here the server chooses where to serve. Whereas in the doubles, on deciding point, I mean, whereas in the doubles, of course, we have the receiver's choice. Yeah, I mean, I hate moonballers, but it's not even about moonballers. It's more about like, big forehand spin. But moonballers as well. It's not tennis. Yeah, I think no one was expecting Mensik to have this much trouble with Tien. This seemed like the most lopsided match today. And now a deciding point. How will Lerner handle this? Ooh, Mensik made it tricky. With that slice get, he made it tricky. So that's good for Lerner to stay in this set. Stay in the set is maybe a little harsh given it's just the second game, but he just doesn't let the match run away from him here. We'll see how huge that will be soon. Would I ever hit a two-handed backhand in table tennis? Yeah, I was just going to mention Hugo Calderano. Myself, no, not really. I don't really see the point of it. I play tennis with one-handed backhand as well, right? So I don't really see what the point would be, to be honest. But I know Hugo Calderano is it's his trademark. I feel like my one-hander is too strong for that to really be an option. In situational points, I feel like still I have better reach. I have a better chance of getting to a tough ball with one hand. So I don't really ever see the point for that, to be honest. But it works for him, and it looks pretty nice. I've played table tennis with a two-handed backhand, just for fun. Like, let's play a set with two-handed, just two-handed, both shots two-handed. And I feel like I was doing pretty okay, but I would never try it in a match. Just I don't really see a point where it would come in and make sense. Speaking of making sense, after that chance that Lerner just saved, now he's going to have some of his own. I can't tell you yet if he's going to have breakpoints, but it's love 30. Did the big serves stop coming for Mensik? Sorta. This one is also out, 220 down the tee, but it's just narrowly missed. So this could be one of the most important games of the match now. He's coming into the net, and this time he's going to win the point. Nicely done. Obviously more of that was just a +1 forehand being wide enough and not allowing Lerner to have any fun on the pass, but he's had some volleying issues this match, mostly coming from the approaches being unprepared, but still. So 15-30 now. Still in trouble. Still, the break is kind of within reach. And again, it's going to be on second serve. 213 first serve, just narrowly misses. So it's exactly like last point, more or less. Well, and now he's going to have to win a rally, right? Which isn't easy. Ooh, tries to go line with the backhand, and it's into the net. 15-40 now. This is not much point, but it's not that far off, right? Because Lerner breaks and holds, and he's got 2 chances to claim the match. So second serve again. So the first serve just stopped coming. Oh wow, a diving volley, but it's gonna be out. Jakub Mensik falling on the floor to get to that one. He wasn't far off. I don't know who would have won the point after that. But anyway, it's long. So Lerner Tien now with the very palpable, very sizable advantage of being a break up here. And this is going to be just 2 holds to claim the match. First chance for a break, and first time he actually takes it as well. And well, this is massive. Mensik was basically unbreakable the entire match, but then the one game comes where the first serve stopped coming, and the match turns on its head a bit, sorta. Of course, he was still 1-2 down, but just the momentum of the last 15-20 minutes, I guess. Well, now in a huge pickle, that's for sure. Jakub Mensik, the third seed of this event, one of the favorites to win it. He's not looked amazing today, also physically, but also game-wise. But who knows? Maybe he just needs to get through that first match. But now his chances at getting through that first match are looking rather slim. I mean, 2-1 up, Lerner Tien, just 2 holds away. Let's see. I think this really? This is in? Mensik is very surprised as well, but obviously we have the Hawkeye Live system here. So it must be a point for Lerner then. Yeah, personally, I mean, Mensik played such a deep shot, and then I thought Lerner's answer was definitely going to go out, but no. The Czech had a brief interaction with Mohamed Layani, but of course, again, this is just Hawkeye Live. There's no umpires. The umpires aren't involved, so it's just the machine that we have to trust here. Unfortunately, on the screen, they didn't show us that close call, but I'm assuming it was just in by just a tiny, tiny bit. 30 love now for Tien. So this is looking really, really good for the American. And he is not connecting with anything in this return game, Mensik. So 40 love Tien, 4 chances to go 3-1 up and just be really, really close to taking this match now. Well, this looks like a point that Mensik should be able to take. Pretty fun reactive return from Mensik. He's actually making this a little bit... he's actually making this game competitive now from low 40. 30-40. So 2 chances. I mean, he still has to win 2 points in a row. But that reaction on the return here did a great job. And then eventually he just has too much here for Lerner when the ball is sitting up for him like this. But still 40-30. The American is on the front foot. He is on the up. We're gonna have another point. They're playing for it. Mensik with that angle cross court, trying to go forehand line, but that's not gonna be enough to get Lerner into trouble. And again, he's approaching the net slightly underprepared, but what a volley this time. He picked this up right off his shoelaces. And suddenly from low 40, we've got a deciding point. Beautiful volley. I mean, this is legit. That guy who was the guy on my Twitter who was talking about how Mensik can't volley should now, like, I don't know, just send an apology to Prague or wherever in the Czech Republic Jakub Mensik is from. Anyway, deciding point. And the serve is going to be out. Well, I mean, massive doesn't quite cover what sort of point we're watching now. Mensik with a big return. Not enough, though. Lerner is in this. Gets him a little on the stretch. There's some really good counter-punching and defense from Lerner coming up here. But he's eventually going to make an error. What a break this is. The last 4 points from Mensik. Holy hell. I think the entire box of Mensik cannot believe that he was able to do this. These 2 people look like his parents. And I think all of them are surprised that he's still in this set, still in this match. That's just a moment of magic for Mensik. Now let's see how much this actually gives him. Points won over 9 shots in the fourth set. Mensik has won all 4, which is of course such a drastic change compared to how it was in the previous 3. Suddenly, I mean, he's doing a good job at not making these neutral rallies neutral anymore, right? I mean, he's definitely pushing himself a little bit more. You saw that approach. Like, it wasn't good in any shape or form, but he played a phenomenal volley and was able to get out of this pickle. So 3-2 now is probably very soon, because in 45 seconds, he's able to get to 40 love. Not that Lerner Tien didn't just get broken from 40 love, but well, it's an ace on the second serve. So this is what that other person in my comments wanted. A more aggressive second serve strategy from Mensik. And 3-2 up now. Well, what a turnaround. Of course, the last time we had this situation in a set, Mensik broke Tien. So after the changeover, or, the sit down, another very important moment coming up. Just tuning in, if they had to give a wild card, who would you have liked them to give it to? Any other Middle Eastern like Shelbach? No. I mean, literally no. That's why Kina was very much in favor of them not giving a wild card to anybody this year and just letting the 8th guy on the list, because there's no players that would make sense from that region this year. Shelbach, of course, is not eligible anymore, 2003 born. So I think there was no good option for a wildcard. I mean, obviously, you could just give it to someone random, like, I don't know, Dino Prizmic, Nikolai Budkov-Kier, or whatever, but it would be so arbitrary. And I think for this sort of like prize money, 150 for just participating, you cannot do it. I think for that sort of wage, yeah, sorry, that was not my intention, obviously. Anyway, for that sort of wage, you should not be granting wildcards. Just doesn't make any sense. Oh, and my original stream has woken up for some reason. So I guess I'm going to watch there now. And we have Lerner 30 love up already. This will be more in tune with the scoreboard that we have on the screen. So that's good. I kind of agree with you, Keen, as well, that like in this format, not much is a huge upset. I think we don't really know how this would have looked, in regular best 2-6 games, given how easily Mensik has been holding most of the match, for example, right? It's possible that he would have been just like up on Lerner, but I don't know. Anyway, we all know what the format is, so that's kind of how we have to treat these matches, right? This is a crazy point, but Lerner's lob is pretty decent, and the backhand overhead from Mensik still allows him for a little bit of an angle for the pass, but it's into the net from the American. But yeah, no wildcard choices this year. I don't think there's anyone who would make any sense. Kozlov, someone got a mention. Somehow, no, Keen. I mean, if you listen to more Alex podcasts, you would know that he is a massive Kozlov fan, and he is going to mention him in every single podcast, literally. So that's why he said it. But yeah, he was huge on Kozlov when Kozlov was growing up, basically, and then kind of had to realize at some point, oh no, this game isn't going to make it in the pros. But yeah. Of course, Stefan was very close to the top 100 just a few years back. 30 all now, so another dangerous moment. 40-30 though, as Lerner finds another great serve. Once again, it's not the pace, it's just the angle, it's the precision, and it's enough. It's not all about pace. It's not all about size. 40-30, second serve. Of course, the previous 2 tiebreaks were both won by Lerner, which could give him some confidence if he can get there now. But can he get there now? Once again, he's on the move. Mensik going backhand line. I mean, what a shot. However, it's back in play. And he's going to have to volley for it once more, but what a beautiful volley it is. And again, this is just more prepared, right? This is just an approach that makes sense. He fires that forehand, he's instantly there. It doesn't matter how quick Lerner will be on the ball. Mensik knows that he's going to have the advantage. It's very different sort of level of, just thought behind his net play. And I think that's something that has improved for him the last 2 sets or so, for sure. Not counting that incredible volley, though, on breakpoint. That was just like a little lucky. Anyway, deciding point, which is also a set point, of course, for Mensik. And it's another second serve. Lerner, of course, choosing the outside, trying to kind of like count on the lefty effect. Let's see. This is so huge. It goes at the body. He's got Mensik on the move. Backhand line now. Mensik just trying to defend and hold on somehow. Hoping that Lerner makes an error. He's not doing it so far. This is such a key point. More loop into the Mensik backhand, and Mensik will win it eventually. I mean, suddenly it's Lerner looking like he's a little gassed, but Mensik, he's got the momentum going into the 5th set. We'll see if it's important. What might be important, it maybe wasn't huge in this set because he got broken in the 3rd game, but he will be starting the decider on serve, and he really just like outgrinded Lerner on the last point. So, I mean, this is a big shift for this match, that's for sure. Just 60% first serve points won for Mensik. Yeah, I mean, he had that one game where he got broken, obviously. Lots of returns made from him, but then also Lerner 100% second serve returns made, which shows you how he was able to get that break for the first time. Just 43% of first serves won for Tien, so that's kind of also what is killing him now, right? Just Mensik being able to break him twice in this set, 3 times over the last 2 sets. In fact, 3 times in the last 4 games, right? Mensik broke him 3 times in the last 4 games. And yeah, he's playing smarter. He's attacking the net better. He's preparing his ventures into the forecourt a little bit better, and that's been enough. And suddenly, Mensik has to be considered the favorite for this match again. Huge roar for him when he won this one, and I mean, rightfully so. It was a great point. Let's see if Lerner has any second win left, or if this is what we're gonna have to expect from this match now. Yeah, Kozlov, haven't heard of him for a while. Yeah, he's like injured now. Do I rate any of the Sakelaridis clan highly? I've only watched Stefanos. I haven't watched Dimitris and Michalis. I've heard Dimitris is pretty fun, actually. But Stefanos, to me, like, he has a very loose arm. And if he ever, I don't know, like, if he ever just becomes more of a finished product, less of a role player, maybe, like, he has some game. He has big pace. It's just, so erratic and everything is in the back fence most of the time. But he has like this very loose arm. I like the acceleration he gets with his racket head speed and everything. I don't think he's total trash, no. I've heard Dimitris has some talent too. I don't know about Michalis. And of course, Sapfo is a joy to watch. I mean, that serve is, we should put it in the Louvre, hang it in the Louvre. And all the momentum now, and even more momentum now for Mensik, as he goes 1 love up in literally just 1 minute. As I mentioned earlier, by the way, if you weren't active then yet, we will also have a stream from Fils Fonseca. As far as I know, it will be me and maybe someone else. But yeah, that's obviously just like 20 minutes from after this one. I'm probably gonna go get a package from the box, and then from the machine, and get a package from the machine, and then be back hopefully in time. But I think I should be back in time after this match ends. However, let's see. Mensik now, wow. I mean, I don't know if it's going to turn into anything, but he's flying now. Like, he's got the intensity, you know, he's like locked in. This point is one of the best ones he's played all match. And you can see that there's like more, you know, pep in his step. Ridiculous back in line too, to finish it off. You can see he's like desperate to get this break now. So now it's up to Lerner to kind of like shake him out of this mood. 17 out of the last 20 points Mensik has won. That's insane. And all of these 3 points for Lerner, they would have been in that last game of the previous set, right? Yeah, because of course that low 40 that Mensik climbed out of. And again, one more incredible rally. He's just like so crisp right now. If he can break here, I don't really see how he gives it away. I mean, he's doing everything right now that like we were sort of thinking he should be, right? I mean, just pushing for these openings of the ground more, approaching the net with more careful planning. This point doesn't work out, but you can see he's like so up for this break now. And let's see if he gets it. If he doesn't, game on. But you can see he wants it very hard now. Like there's definitely an increase of intensity. And again, he's just driving through the ball now. Let's see if Lerner wavers in any way or not, because so far he's doing very well as well. And yes, he's going to stay in this. This is good resilience from Tien in this point. Mensik just kind of like trying again to be a little more aggressive, drive through the ball more than the last few sets, but actually kind of killed him at the end of this 26-shot rally. $30 now, still not out of the woods, but 40-30 really helps. So despite that spurt that Mensik is playing on right now, maybe it's not going to be enough. Maybe Lerner still holds. Ooh, that's a cheap forehand error from Tien. So now one of the matches, one of the points of the match. I mean, deciding point here. Potential break for Mensik. Potential hold is a 3-0 lead. Yeah, I mean, Lerner has to win this. Goes at the body. Doesn't do much with this. Mensik tries to slam his forehand line, but it's just long. Not a bad attempt, but Lerner also showing a lot of resilience here to kind of like stop this momentum and stop the flood that was coming in Mensik's favor. Ace out wide, so the serving right now for Mensik keeps proving pretty decisive. And again, another ace out wide. Okay, I mean, he's getting to a pretty nice tally here, that's for sure. This is not an ace, but it's an unreturned serve. And again, it's just a game that Lerner is a bit locked out of. And he's completely locked out of this. I mean, this was like a minute, I think. Mensik just strolling through this, and he's gonna now try to gather up some energy to fight for another break. This turned into a pretty close match, says Ghosty. Yeah, I think with the fourth set, yes. Because after the third set, I mentioned that like Mensik wins the next two sets like 4-2, 4-1. We could still call it like a deceptively easy 5-setter if this was like literally all that happened. But with how the fourth set went, the one break, and then Mensik winning that game from love 40 on return, right? Like that was what still makes this match, even if Mensik, let's say, wins the next two games, still that fourth set was there, that opportunity was there for Tien. But of course, Lerner is still in this, and he's actually shown that he can stick around despite all that momentum for Mensik. But let's see. Will the Czech attack in the next game with as much intensity as he did just a second ago? And will it matter this time around? There's some DJ as well that looks like a sort of she doesn't look like a Jessica Pegula, but I don't know, for some reason. I guess her face is a little similar. Anyway, 2-1 for Mensik. And now Lerner Tien serving 1-2 down in the fifth. This is almost 2 hours on the clock. So you can see that even though this match has a lot of games already and basically every single set went 6 or 7 games, this is a fast format. Well, it's an ace for Lerner as well. He can do it too. Close call, but once again, really good spin. Deuce side, so of course swirling back from Mensik into his backhand corner, and that's another serve like this. Except this one, I mean, Mensik just puts back in, and if the ball sits up for Lerner like this, he cannot really take it, right? I mean, if the ball sits up for him, if the ball sits up for Mensik like this, the point is over. If the ball sits up for Lerner, it's tricky, and he makes an error. But again, he goes for that serve down the tee, and Mensik can't handle the spin. It's a deceptively tricky return here, but I think Lerner should just clean up the point, right? Well, it's a smash, but yeah, he plays it in with some slice. But yeah, still solid. I think especially impressive was how he handled that return. It could have been much more just like weirder, you know. It's not a position you usually play from, but yeah, just took this point and like basically made sure that nothing wrong will happen. 40-15. I don't think this is an ace, Lerner. I think you have to get back to the line. Yes. Barely lands the baseline, Tien. And now is on the front foot again. Will try to approach the net. Should get a smash here. This one was pretty tough, actually. He was moving back. Of course, he's not a tall guy. So good on him for making that. And that's 2 games all. This game, Mensik unable to make an impact like he did in the opening one, even though, of course, there he also didn't break, but you could see that he was just like firing for it. Not this time. I mean, the serving from Lerner really was key, right? He was just like putting him under pressure. 2 unreturned serves, then pretty like short balls that he can take advantage of. So anyway, 2 games all, 13 minutes. Now we know that this match will last no longer than 3 games. That's a funky one. Mensik gets this really short return from Lerner and like is barely able to make it. But that actually means that despite sort of like being on full speed to his forehand corner, Lerner will get this basically on his body. So yeah, nothing he can do with that. Mensik would love a quick hold here again. Let's see if he can do it. I mean, ace down the tee is not going to hurt. His serving has been really, really good this match besides that one game. And is basically the thing that's kind of like kept him in it, right? Well, the thing that, just his bread and butter today is the serve. 20 aces. That's not a 21st. That's a little long. What do they have in store here? Really powering through the Lerner forehand, but there's a good counter. For a guy his size, Lerner has always had pretty decent pop, and when he can set up for a shot like this, yeah, it flies through the court. It flies through the surface. But the 21st ace of the match for Mensik, I think Lerner has won, which is very recent, actually. Okay. Still in the point, but not for long. Again, this is kind of what I mentioned earlier. So like when a ball sits up like this for Mensik after the serve, the point is done. 3-2. So this was the last service game that we're going to see from Jakub Mensik today. Now Lerner is going to try to take this to a tiebreak. And of course, I don't have to tell you that the last 2 times this happened, the previous 2 sets, he got broken. Fill me in on the last couple of series sets, except for the DJ who looks like Bakura. Yeah, I mean, the last couple of sets, especially the 4th one, you need to remember there was a break for first of the match for Lerner. That was when Mensik, even though he's serving today is like godlike, he had this one game where the first serve stopped coming. So he's 1-2 down and also low 40 down on return. But he suddenly wins the next 4 points. Ridiculous rallies. Beautiful volley from his shoelaces, and he turns it around completely. And now he kind of like has all the momentum, but of course Lerner is just one game away. I think from that 1-2 break that he surrendered, Mensik, the servings obviously came alive, but also he's like much better at planning out his net approaches and just pushing even harder for the openings of the ground. We were kind of like saying earlier that in these longer, extended back and forth rallies with Lerner, he's just not stepping up. He's not trying to, I don't know, go for a bigger ground stroke and really put some pressure on the American. Now he's doing that generally. But still, it's 3-2. We're on serve. You know, he turned it around, but now he has to make that one final push, one final stamp. And we'll see if he can do it. The last 2 times Lerner Tien was serving at 2-3 down in a set, he got broken. Will it be the same case here? Let's see. Well, first point is going to be sort of like suggesting otherwise, as he goes at the body of Jakub Mensik, and the Czech is unable to move away in time. Even though that serve isn't that strong, right? So I think the serving from Lerner definitely has like held up okay, even if one of the main advantages, of course, for Mensik is still the serve, but you know, it's not like he's breaking Lerner for fun. He kind of was end of 3rd set and 4th set, but well, now we have more and more just like good, quick point play from Lerner, and it looks like this will all be heading to that tiebreak, which is pretty insane. 30 love. I think, you know, you guys watching that, I think you basically have to know, right, that like this format is pretty fun. I think for the entire 2 hours and 5 minutes, it's never really felt like a game, a point was meaningless. So that's what I like about it, I guess. Everything feels huge. Like you've got crucial games time and time again, crucial points time and time again. Well, this one maybe doesn't feel crucial, 40 love up for Lerner, and Mensik just goes for a huge back and return line. Again, we saw a return like this from him a few games back. But, I mean, it could get crucial in like just 1 or 2 points, really. So we've already had him breaking like this, right, from 40 love for Lerner, where you have to win 4 points in a row. So kind of even tougher than breaking generally from love 40, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, this point, Mensik is also in, and he's going to be approaching, should get this volley in. Yes, indeed. Again, the guy who said Mensik can't volley, just... What are you smoking, mate? I mean, I know what he was smoking. He regularly comments on my Twitter, and I think he's just betting, but... so he was smoking money, I guess. He was burning his money. But... no, I mean, I understand what he was saying. Mensik was losing a lot of points at the net, but it's just a factor of him being like not really ready with these approaches for the most part in the first 3 sets, right? Just trying to kamikaze his way into these points and just having no other idea, whereas now he's doing this in a bit of a smarter manner. We also saw a very interesting stats. So we're heading into the deciding tiebreak, but Mensik won 102 points and Tien has won 86. So pretty funny. But anyway, deciding set tiebreak it is after a forehand unforced error from Mensik. So let's see. This is, again, like someone has to step up. Once again, we have a very crucial part of the match. And of course, the first 2 tiebreaks went to Lerner. Let's see. First point of the tiebreak, though, Jakub Mensik, ace. Another one. So many of them today. Well, let's see. Can he find the mini break? Because he's in the point. Great angle on the forehand inside out, and he should be able to get it. Yeah, this was quite risky, but, he makes it work. So it's a mini break for him. I think he also led by a mini break in the first set tiebreak, right? Even maybe twice. I don't remember the second set, but yeah, of course, it's nothing yet. But maybe if he gets another one, like that's when we would say, well, you're in the position to do it now. But again, he can't handle that serve. Deuce side, Lerner, down the tee, swirling to the backhand side of Mensik. That's been a really tough one to handle for the Czech. Well, but the serving is still strong. 217, this time more at the body, but it's just too much. So 3-1 up. Four 4-1 now, another ace. I mean, 15 out of 15 on first serve points won in the 5th set. To be honest, Lerner is on an 11-16, right? 11 out of 16. You might remember that in the 4th set, he was like below 50%. So his percentages have gone up too. But Mensik, 15 out of 15. Well, he's in a commanding lead now, 4-1. Has 2 opportunities to look for another mini break, which would really feel like it's, almost there. But no, this is going to be another forehand that he breaks down on. And this is also kind of like his technical error, right? I mean, he's like trademark error, if you may. Do you guys have a trademark error? I mean, I think everyone has a trademark shot of sorts, but trademark error. And this is a trademark error of Jakub Mensik. This is also a trademark error of Holger Rune, right? The same kind of like forehand deficiencies. So yeah, he makes another one here. 4-2 for Mensik. What I mean by trademark error is, of course, like if I think of Jakub Mensik making an unforced error, it's going to be this one. And it's the same for Holger. I wonder what's my trademark error. I guess when it's a deep ball on the backhand. Probably. Yeah, it has to be that. Is there a trademark error for Lerner? I guess maybe not. Maybe when he's like a little on the front foot with the forehand and he's trying to play it. No, probably there's no trademark error for Lerner. Luka Van Asch today made just 12 unforced errors, so there's probably no trademark unforced error for him either. All right, this is big, 4-3, but 2 serves for Mensik, and the serve came back, so it's a little bit of a cheap error from Lerner there, because he was back in the point, just wide on the forehand topspin. So 5-3 Mensik. I mean, he'd love an ace. He hit so many already today. He'd love another one. Doesn't find it. It's gonna be white. 220 though. 5-3. This is so big. It's a good second serve, but it's still just a neutral rally, and he's gonna hit his forehand into the net. This is, yeah. I mean, this is the kind of error he could not afford here. Yeah, I mean, this is... If Mensik loses this match, we're gonna be looking at this forehand just completely for no reason. Well, second serve return to look at, though. He's so safe on the return here. I mean, you can see the tension right there. And he tries to go backhand line, but this is just such a wild attempt. Now Mensik is like falling apart with the nerves. This time the serve that Lerner has been favoring works out for him again, actually, because this time I was going to say that this time was returned. But the +1 forehand is clean, so 6-5 Lerner Tien. He actually has a match point here. Now that's wild. 5-2 up. Mensik suffering such a sudden... Oh, wow. Another ace. 6-all now. Mensik has saved the match point. I mean, the serve, again, it's just the one thing that he has over Lerner today, right? It's the one thing that he can rely on most of the time. $25 aces already for Mensik. Is it going to be another ace? No, but it's an unreturned serve. I mean, it's literally the same, right? He's not going to care if it's an ace. 7-6, and Lerner Tien about to serve match point down. Mensik has saved one. Let's see if Lerner can do the same. So that's a difference already. But he's got Mensik on the move. Jakub is just going to be trying to... Wow! That's one of the best forehands of the match from Tien. That's insane, actually. What an inside out there. No? Yeah, that's literally the best forehand I've seen Lerner hit all match, I think. Match point down. Jesus Christ. Massive. Absolutely massive. 144 kilometers an hour. I was not expecting that, and I don't think Mensik was either. And again, he goes for that favorite serve, and it's going to give him the point. Wow. Second match point now for Tien. Mensik goes huge on the serve, but that's one of the better returns I've seen Lerner play the entire match. However, Mensik is there. Okay. I mean, they're both just like peaking in terms of their, mental game right now. Because this block return, I haven't seen this from Lerner all match. And then Mensik approaches the net and follows it up with a beautiful forehand volley. Jesus. He would love an ace. And I think it's wide. So 8-all, second serve. This is very tense. I wonder how he's going to handle it now. Well, it's just a kicker. He's not really willing to risk all that much now. Oh, barely getting these forehands over the net. Lands this on the line, but he doesn't get to the next shot. And now it's going to be Lerner having a match point on his serve. And the return is out. When going T. Lerner Tien is actually picking up this match. I mean, what an insane win. He was 2 sets to love up, but for a while, Mensik just had so much momentum. But Lerner wins 3 tiebreaks. He won, I mean, I don't know how many fewer points than Mensik, but it must be a huge disparity. But still, suddenly, in the like latter stages of the tiebreak, he picks himself up and he starts firing again. I mean, the forehand that he hit to save a match point, that was literally the best I've seen from him the entire match. And also the block return. Jesus.
Vanch has reacted in our WhatsApp group, and it's not Nakashima baby. It's just
it's gonna be Lerner Tien baby.
More wise words from Vanch in capital letters. Lerner Tien. Wow, he just says. Get your tweet out. I'm going to ask a couple of questions, including responding to some of the stuff in the live chats. Ozan here saying he told you so. Gene is excited for Tien. And Ozan repeating the same joke he did right at the beginning of the stream about learning about Lerner. Ghosty here as well, suggesting that was a fun match. 3 tiebreaks is nice. And yeah, as you were saying, there may well be a disparity when it comes to points won. I said right at the beginning of the stream, I think Mensik had 3 break points, I think he did have 3 break points. I think he had 15-40 on the team serve. And I think I put something in the live chat right at the beginning, which is along the lines of, this could be a beatdown. I just saw the fact that Mensik was the sort of overwhelming, is that too strong a word, favorite beforehand. And when he's, comfortably holding and then suddenly got 3 break points on the team serve, albeit because of the format 15-40, meaning you have 3 break points. But anything but that. However, when Mensik comes back from those first 2 set losses as the way he did, I just thought that eventually he's going to get this done. And of course, he did have a match point. But in the end, Tien was the one. Tina, I'm getting Lerner and Tina fused together. And either way, Tien has won. Mensik has lost his first match. Second favorite for the tournament. Let me know your thoughts in the live chat, whether I'm too strong on Mensik being the second favorite, with Feast for me as favorite for the tournament. But he's lost his first match. Ghosty here suggesting shades of Medvedev from last year. Of course, Medvedev took the title last year, beating Feast in the final. I wonder whether Feast's motivation, by the way, in terms of playing here, is affected by the fact that he got to the final and lost last year. I wonder if he'd won that final, whether he would have decided to play this, or Artur Feast sees this ATP finals as a great way to begin his pre-season almost with some competition, and that may give him a slight advantage as we head into the early part, at least, of the Australian swing. Yeah, Ghosty here agreeing with me that the second favourite, Mensik, well, before the last match or the most recent match. Of course, we've had a couple of matches also earlier on with Mikkelsen, I know, getting off the mark with a win as well. And we've got Fils against Fonseca to come. Do stay with us because we'll be live for that encounter. They normally have a pretty quick turnaround at these next-gen finals. We'll have to see if that happens as well. I'm sure Damien will be back shortly. It's quite a coincidence that it happened as I joined. I think it's nothing more than that. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on the live chat, but also let me know your thoughts ahead of Fils and Fonseca. For me, Fils, again, would be a fairly strong favourite there. Fonseca did beat him in Rio, including a 6-love set, but that was on clay, and it was obviously a very different art of Fils that day compared to what we saw, particularly in the second half of 2024, where he's giving me and I think others sort of some top 10 vibes in terms of where his 2025 may head. So you went Ozan for Tien beforehand, did you? I didn't know that. But Gene here is just saying he's in shock. That match was so good. I was going to joke with Damien, actually. Fingers crossed we get him back at some point. Yeah, I don't know if that was a big factor that day, Ghosted, but you might be right. Yeah, anyway, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, I was going to joke with Damien about maybe we've produced our matches of the year too early. By the way, one of our matches of the year is already out, the 5th one on the women's side, so do check that video out. We've also got a Connor Nyland interview that's now up and running, so please do check that one out as well. And of course, before we end this stream, do get voting in our poll as to whether you think Nerland actually exists. Okay, rumor has it he's not. Yeah, match fit, yes. But I think if he was anything other than healthy, I don't think he would play. I don't think he would risk exacerbating an injury. But yes, I understand that. But that's kind of ideal for him, that he'll come in not close to match fit, whereas probably some of the other ones, albeit it sounds a bit weird to say, some of the younger ones in this bunch and less experienced ones will probably sort of see this as a season-ending crescendo, whereas Artifice may well look at it the other way around and look at this as a great way to build up to that Australian swing. Not long left on this stream, so do please hit the like button and, of course, subscribe to the channel if you are new. I see that my image at least has frozen. Fingers crossed you can still hear me. Do let me know on that one. Looks like all the technology is falling apart for us right now. Oh, no, okay, I'm back. That's good. Let's probably share the screen with you at least. Maybe also get a tweet or two up and running, see what else is going on in the Twitter sphere. I wouldn't be surprised if Damien was mid-tweet at one point. Let's see what he has to say, at least on social media. For a while, Mensik was right back in with this, with more aggression off the ground and God's mode serving. But Lerner somehow wins another tiebreak, hits his best inside-out forehand of the match point down, and takes the victory. Despite, look at that for a disparity, by the way. Fingers crossed I can share this on the screen with you. This is Damien's tweet. Look at this for a disparity in the points won. 14 points. That's very rare you get such a massive gap between the two players like that. Goes to here saying he voted in the poll real for Nerland's existence. I'm guessing Nerland didn't join us. One other thing about the poll, by the way, is the amount of people that voted that probably don't even know Nerland, which is kind of amusing. But them not knowing Nerland is certainly their loss. Let's see if we've got a couple more tweets to share before we bring this episode to an end, because as I say, we're going to have the other stream up and coming. Yeah, and Jose Morgado, or I should probably say Jose Morgado in Portuguese, also sharing a similar point about the difference in points won there. Yeah, so there's 14-point gap, which is pretty massive. Mensik hit 24 aces and it still wasn't enough. Gene laughing about something. I'm not sure what that was. You saw him the other day. Okay. Nerland, I'm guessing that is. All right, guys. Well, as I say, I think that brings this particular episode to an end, but do stay with us. Of course, we had also Van Ash winning early on today. That was the other player. I've got a WhatsApp here from Damien. Yeah, but anyway, he's going to be joining us for Fonseca Feast. That is fine. Okay, cool. I'm going to bring this to an end because we'll be live very, very shortly, maybe even in 30, 60 seconds or so. Hi, Jake. Nice of you to join us, albeit a little bit late in the day, but we're going to be switching over almost immediately now to Fils and Fonseca. So see you in a couple of minutes on the other side. I may do a live premiere in a few hours as well for the Mute, or maybe I shouldn't tell you. Our number 5 in our ATP list. Anyway, yeah, speak to you all soon. And for everybody else, you know the drill. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.